Greetings, friends. Gemini here. I hope you are doing beautifully. Sounds like this thing is working. If anyone's here live, comment on this thing so I make sure it's all happening. It's been a little while. I've been super sick. You can hear it in the voice still. I lost my voice for like 4 or 5 days, which was crazy tricky because I'm like more than ever before, my work, my like world is so linked to my speech, right? And I tend towards exaggerated hypochondria, paranoia, like working on it in a much better place than I once was for sure. Um, but that's a kind of in my code. It's a kind of in the kind of Scorpio Gemini thing anyway. Pragmatic poet, thank you for that comment. Thanks for letting me know that we're on here. Um, so yeah, like we have a baby girl showing up. June 12th is the due date, right? So everything's going to change. So the topic of this is, are you ready for big changes? Because like it's going to happen for all of us. It's going to happen for the world, y'all. Anyway, so like my voice is gone. Like I would try to talk and just nothing would come out. Like eventually I had whisper and then I got my low notes back and then, it gets coming back more. Like today, this was like a marathon of work because now I'm like all the folks that I had to reschedule from canceling and then canceling again because this cold just like persisted. It's all like happening at once now, right? So it's been nuts. But anyway, when I was in that like kind of voicelessness, there was like, oh my God, my daughter's never going to hear me speak. And I'm not going to be able to be a counseling astrologer anymore. I'm going to have to figure out like sign language or some kind of AI thing. Maybe I'll finally be a writer. Intriguingly, by the way, for me, if you speak astrology, I'm 48 years old. I'm in a first house annual profection. My rising sign's Gemini, so Mercury in this one chronocrator, Time Lord technique, Lord of the Year. The time I lost my voice, transiting Mercury was square, transiting Neptune, and Neptune couldn't find Mercury, my voice. I was also at a third house month. My third is Leo. Saturn lives there in my chart. So there's something about blockages in communication, which typically in my life now tends to show up more in a difficulty in like the written word versus the spoken word. Interestingly, I was actually invited to contribute articles to a couple. Well, one, I was invited to contribute an article to a magazine during this time and was invited in such a way that like, hey, we could just do an interview and it could show up as a Q&A in the magazine, or, we could do an interview and I'll just like ghostwrite it for you. I was like, well, that's cool. And then talk to the cat and he's like, what we settled on is I can just do a presentation, which is my like forte, right? And send the transcript and like, hey, pick the illustrations you want from the presentation, edit the transcript to your wishes, and now we have an article, right? So that happened, and then I called another magazine that I've been wanting to write for a long time and have had some opportunities, but I really kind of struggle with the pen, like just over edit myself and whatnot. It was like, hey, so I'm going to do this. Like, would it be okay if we use that article? They're like, you could just send us the presentation as well, and we'll ghostwrite. I'm like, sweet, right? So there's something about my like losing my voice that also like opened up these opportunities for a way that maybe I can show up more in the written word without necessarily having to go through some, for me, of like the pain of like dealing with getting the book out or whatever. And then maybe that actually gets to lead to the books down the road, like a new format for me. Time will tell, So I was intrigued by that. And it's so cool when like the astrology is just literal. You know what I mean? Like I was like, oh my God, I need to teach a perfections class right now. Because the thing is like when we're looking at like these timing techniques, especially like larger ones, like with famous people or whatever, like I don't know when they had a cold and lost their voice. I mean, if they're a singer, maybe I do. Maybe they had to cancel a tour or something. Steve Tyler for Aerosmith just had to do this, right? So maybe I can see a similar thing there. But for me, it was like, man, I had to get a tooth pulled out during a strong Capricorn Saturn thing, which is like that, It's like looking at our own charts and conversing about that and comparing notes. Like that for me is where the astrology gets interesting. I'm a little bit less inclined towards this means this is happening in the world. I'm very interested in it, but I'm way more personally interested in like, what does this mean for me? What does this mean for you? What does this mean for each of my clients? What does it mean for our relationships? How can this thing that's happening to the whole globe, like inspire / influence you, me, right? Like, what do we do about it? Do you know what I'm saying? And like the study just gets so much more interesting because things like, oh, that was that week that I lost my voice. And I went into this really weird place about it. Like my daughter's only going to ever know what I sound like from my old YouTube videos, which probably suck anyway. Like that kind of trip. Yeah. I was like, that thing, I was like, well, like the saxophone's going to be how I speak, and the piano, which I've been playing a bunch lately. And interestingly, Anna, my partner, was at a marketing conference or convention, I guess, whatever, in Vegas at the time. And they saw this like AI thing that's like going to do your podcast for you, like creates an avatar that looks like you. I was like, so what? You like type up a script and it like talks. She's like, no, you don't even do that, right? You just like let it into your castle, and then it's just gonna like transmit all these things that you are. It's like, oh Jesus, I have a lot of kind of AI fear personally, but it's like, God, if I can't talk, I still got to get the word out. So let's do that. Let's look. Pragmatic Poet. I have a root canal I want to reschedule because they booked it in the Leo full moon. What's your rising sign, Pragmatic Poet? I wouldn't know that I would worry so much just by signs of a Leo full moon. I mean, of course, the Leo full moon is reflecting Aquarius sunlight, and Aquarius traditionally Saturn and Saturn bones, including the tips of the bones, which are the teeth. But usually it's like, don't put the moon in a tooth-oriented sign. So Leo, like if you were getting a heart or a spinal thing, which are Leo things, I would, or Ptolemy, I should say, would advise against it. I don't think it's an issue so much with the root canal, by the way. Like one astrologer's point of view, depends on your rising sign, depends on your chart, right? So again, global things, Leo full moon, global thing, right? Well, what does it have to do with Pragmatic Poet or Shauna versus what does it have to do with Gemini? For me, like that's where the things come alive. Okay, so I'm reading Scorpio rising, Aquarius sun. Yeah, I mean, I want to see your whole chart, but I'd say go for it. There's no like automatic indications of like, don't do it. Sometimes full moon can be more blood, right? Which obviously you don't want. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have enough information about your chart, but what I do have, I'm like, go for it. I think that's a good time for you. All right. Okay, so why are you ready for big changes? Pluto is changing signs. And Jupiter will conjoin Uranus. When is that? Oh, right, 4/20, bro. So April 20th, Jupiter-Uranus conjunction in Taurus. It's a big deal. We can even say like some of the things that Uranus has been working towards in this travel through the sign of Taurus. Jupiter now superpowers. Pragmatic Poet, am I booking? Absolutely. Yeah, GeminiBrett.com. If you want to book a session with me, it would be my great honor. So GeminiBrett.com/sessions will get you straight there, but you can just find the sessions link at my homepage. And it'd be great to see her. I'll type my website into the chat there now. GeminiBrett.com. By the way, folks, like GeminiBrett.com, thanks to Carolyn Link for so much help recently. And now we have an events page up there. Currently, it only has 2 things: the Conscious Life Expo in LA in February, which is going to be awesome. And I'm on an astrology panel with Rick Levine, Leo King, Kaylin Castell, Raquel Spring, Rachel Lang, hosted by Shima Moore. I think I got everyone there. It's going to be awesome. I'm also doing a workshop on the sacred geometry of Earth, which is called the Tropical Zodiac, and a post-conference thing on realigning ourselves with natural time. So LA, February 9th to the 11th, 12th, something in that world. I would love to see you there. Come hang out. I'm so stoked about Conscious Life Expo. It's like heroes of mine from like the channeled entity Bashar to Del Bigtree, William Henry, others. Like, I'm really excited to perhaps meet or at least just like witness in person some of the teachers who have been really important to my own kind of path, and what I'm very honored to have been invited to that. So you'll see that links to the Conscious Life Expo at GeminiBrett.com on the new events page. If you use my links to go over there and register, I get like a little extra juice. So I sure would appreciate that. You'll also see some information about NORWAC, the Great Northwest Astrological Conference, which will happen in the last week of May in Seattle, as it does Memorial Day weekend. And I'll be doing a pre-conference workshop on harmonics and a couple talks during the thing. Great astrology conference. So I just love that I'm doing like in-person things again. And love, like, I struggle with the WordPress, and Carolyn's helped me a ton. That soon, like, there's a whole laundry list of things that I'm doing this year, including, by the way, I just want to put this out there now, March 15th, 16th, 17th, I'm going to be doing walking tours in Washington, D.C. into the star alignments, the star mysteries. We'll be doing night sky stuff, waking up before the sun, seeing Orion alignments, like amazing things, and then going through like the Capitol building, Library of Congress, and other places inside and outside where there's just amazing astrological and mystical symbolism everywhere. All right. So if you're in the DC area or you want to come travel out, know about that. And soon that will get up at GeminiBrett.com. And I'll be sending out an email about that. So be on my list, please, if you'd like. I'm sure I'll be up here talking about it and showing some pictures to get a crowd built up. It's one of my favorite things to do. I haven't done it for years, walking tours into the DC mysteries. All right, cool. So now where were we? Right, big changes. Okay, so here we have Sun conjunct Pluto. Right, so last time in our lifetimes that Sun will conjoin Pluto in tropical Capricorn. That happened Saturday. Right, the next time they meet, it's always about 367 days between consecutive Sun-Pluto conjunctions, will be in Aquarius. And then Aquarius, right? So like this is the last Capricorn Pluto cycle. Right? They started in like 2008, 2009. There was a whole like financial fallout, you'll remember. And now we're moving into Aquarius, right? That's a very significant change, like even a kind of like a generational energetic change, evolutionary change, like be there. And you know what? You are, and you can't get away from it. Things are going to change in our world outside of us. Things are going to change in the world inside of us. I would ask you this: what do you want to change? Pragmatic poet, like root canal, like you get some stuff taken out. What do you want to attach to that to also get taken out? Right? Is there an old trauma? Like let it go also. You know what I'm saying? Like with Pluto, Uranus come knocking, choose change before change chooses you. And how does this apply to you versus me? Well, I want to see how it's aligning to your natal chart. I want to see what Pluto is in your chart. I want to see what Uranus is. But these are both significant change agents. Right? Neptune's been in Pisces forever. Neptune will move to Aries. Like that's a very significant kind of energetic shift. It's a shift in like the movement of the song. However, like, Neptune things aren't probably going to happen as instantaneously as, if you will. That might not be true if you look at the Fukushima chart, for example. And of course, I mean the tsunami. So anyway, it's changing. Things are changing. There's an amplification of this when Jupiter and Uranus conjoin on April 20th. It's expansive. And so I just invite you to smile into the change that you want to see, that you want to be. Make yourself available to that. Make that. These beings can really shake shit up in such a way that we are down on our knees praying for it to all stop. And they can come and provide the evolutionary impulse to allow you, allow us, allow world to change in a way we just gave up on or thought couldn't happen, not in this lifetime, whatever. Yes, you can. Yes, it is. And here it's time. So that's it. Whether that brings hope or fear, that's what that's what I got. All right. So, yeah, as long as I'm on here, let's play one little Earth astrology game. So Pebble says Pisces Sun, can't wait for Neptune to move on. It's been kind of lovely, but bye, like enough. All right. So let's do Pragmatic Poet. I already have two of them. Scorpio rising, Aquarius Sun. Okay. Please put your moon sign in the chart as well. And we'll do a little bit of Earth astrology with your big three, if you want. I want to address something that just came in here. So to learn astrology as a beginner, 4 to 5 hours a day of study for a year sounds about right. And then another year of the same to read charts and maybe make predictions. Yeah, like Saturn likes your plan, right? With Saturn, plan the work and work the plan. I think that's a pretty good tell. Gosh, if you can put 4 or 5 hours into astrology a day for 2 years like that, you're going to be a great astrologer. However, I will say this. You have been studying astrology since you were born and probably before, because, my friends, astrology is so much more than some symbolic language alone. Astrology is the poetic breath of nature. And so, I started practicing astrology, like literally counseling others using astrology. Some would describe this as criminally early. Like, I started learning astrology November 2012. I was practicing come March 2013. It wasn't what I set out to do. I was starting to study. I was interested in this as a potential path. The first person I received a reading from, in hearing my reflections, was like, you should consider this for you. But what had happened is I was just doing trades, massage, acupuncture, whatever, and like it was helping people help themselves. And they asked, "Hey, what do you charge?" I was like, "I don't know." So they were like, "Oh, $50." I had a dude book at my side. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't trying to like pretend like I was some master or anything. I was very happy to then and happy now to say I don't know, right? I would love to find out. That's a really intriguing question. I bet you this astrologer or that astrologer would be a really good person to ask about that, right? I still try to like maintain some humility, right? 10 years in now, going on 11 soon. And I'm a very different astrologer than I was then. But you know what? The best stuff that I do, it's really in accordance with my number one mantra that I say before any reading: the art of the chart starts in the heart, right? Like, I can wax on and on about different techniques forever. Sometimes my sessions get like that because I tend to sit with like the astrologically informed or, but the best ones are like, we say one thing and it just opens up and we just go there and we like sit in the presence of one another, So speaking of, are you ready for big changes? Right? My voice is gone. It's like, ooh, you know what? This week, how about I speak like half as much as I usually do in sessions? I open up the ears more, like let the client talk. Like, I need to rest my voice. And where will that take me? Maybe this is one of the many revolutions in my work that's necessary. And maybe this is one of the reasons why my voice was taken away from me for a little bit, Cool. Let me get back. So Jay, I'm looking to integrate learning with cosmobiology with the 90-degree dial, as well as go to the start at the beginning for me. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. A really cool tool. I mean, one thing I love about astrology is you can never learn it all. And for me, that's an exciting thing. For some, that's intimidating. All right. Pragmatic Poet, is it 12 years of astrology for me, the Jupiter return of my launch? Um, yeah. That's weird. Oh, no. 12 years for me will be in 2025. When I started as an astrologer, Jupiter was transiting my ascendant, which is 9.5 degrees Gemini. So when that's happening again, which isn't exactly 12 years, but pretty close, especially the first return. Um, all right, and Pragmatic Poet, you already put up here. Let's see. I saw that you wrote it before. The Moon and Venus are together at 4 Capricorn. That's a beautiful conjunction to have. Were they visible? Well, we know Scorpio rising, Aquarius, Sun, right? So I like Venus being there. I love it, but let me just stay for a moment with Scorpio ascendant, Aquarius, Sun, Capricorn moon. Now, there were places, not where you were born, but when you were born. There were other places on Earth. Leo rising places. Sorry. Capricorn rising places where this morning star, Moon Venus conjunction, was quite visible. But for you, at least from a whole sign point of view, and probably most house systems, just the way that Scorpio works, Moon in the third, where she's said to rejoice, the house of the goddess. Why the sun is teaching us this truth in the moment called you. It's the middle of the night. Moon's language is the language, the poetic, romantic language that we whisper in the darkness. Scorpio rising on that magical path, things will be changing consistently. A courageous soul here to evolve. Born in the darkness of the middle of the night. Assuming Northern Hemisphere in the middle of the winter time, right? So I don't know if this is true of you, Pragmatic Poet. I might be barking up the wrong hemisphere here. But this sure sounds to me like the middle of a very long winter night. Maybe it was a giant white cloud outside, but sometimes we get those crisp, clear winter nights where the stars all come out to play. Scorpio rising, Leo on high. Perhaps it was the manger, the beehive cluster, Praesepe, culminating in the moment of your birth, that fuzzy thing we can see on nights like this when the sky, the winter sky, is crisp. A moonless night, for as you know, you're born at the very end of a lunation. So what is the season of the day? Very much winter. What is the season of the year? Very much winter. I see now you say you're born in Canada. Snow globes, snowflakes. But interesting, you might be able to find this online, like what the weather was when you were born. We used to have this on like some of the old charts, the old Hellenistic charts, which way the wind's coming from and all those things. Wow, she writes, my mom heard my name on the road to the hospital. Awesome. Yeah, I wonder when when our baby's name is going to come in. I have a name I want, but others don't. Anyway. Yeah, right. So season of the year, middle of the winter, season of the night, season of the day, middle of the winter, right? It's like the sun is just being reborn from the bottom of the chart at the roots coming back up. That's like the winter solstice of the day. Season of the lunation, very much, I guess you could say, depends on how you do things. But right before new moon, right? You're born a day 3 before new moon, Capricorn moon reflecting Aquarius light. So the very end of a Capricorn lunation, right? There's deep wisdom there. And there's an excitement about something new, starting anew. Moon is also having a conversation with Venus, letting her know that I go into that fire every month and I always come out renewed. It's okay. Understand you're falling into the sun. You'll make it through. I mean, it says easy for you to say you disappear for 3 days. For me, it's like 60, dude. Right? Anyway, hopefully that brings like our feet on this kind of Scorpio, Taurus horizon in the moment of your birth and honors the beauty of what's happening up here in the middle of a moonless night. All right. Thanks for playing. Hello from Wichita, Kansas, says Heather. Hello from Richmond, California, Heather. Thanks, y'all, for spending some time. If you like the video, give it a like, share it around, help me out, And I hope to see you on Earth someday. Let me tell you, again, a few things that are coming up for me. February 9, 10, 11, 12, Conscious Life Expo in Los Angeles. You can link to it from my website, GeminiBrett.com. If you link to it from my site, I get a little bit of kickback. So if you're going to come hang out, please book it through my site. And there's going to be amazing teachers. Just go check out Conscious Life Expo. It's so cool. I'm doing a post-conference workshop that starts on Monday at 8 p.m. Right? So we're going to go out with the stars, and then we're going to come in. We're going to talk about realigning to natural time. How can we create a more conscious calendar that celebrates the cycles of the lights? Easy answer, by the way, is follow the tropical zodiac and celebrate new and full moon, all right, which probably most of you are doing. But there's a lot more kind of intricacies and subtleties that we'll tune into in that lecture. For those of you who can't make it to LA, I likely will be doing that online through my school of Earth Astrology, I think on February 24th. Just be on my mailing list at GeminiBrett.com and you'll get to hear all about that. I won't spam you. It's hard for me to get a mail out, but they happen. Okay, next one, March 15, 16, 17 walking tours in Washington, D.C. Also night sky stuff. I'll do a presentation on the night of Friday the 15th somewhere in town. I got to figure out where. And we'll be going into the Capitol building, into the Library of Congress, one of the most mystical buildings in the world, certainly the most in the United States, at least exoteric, available to the public and whatnot. Amazing. I love showing people around DC. A whole other world opens up. Very strange, ritualistic space-time machine, star world. And so if you can make it out there, or if you're out there, hit me up. That will be up on my events page, hopefully in the next few days. I'm like crazy busy in readings because I was sick for so long. I had to do a lot of reschedules. So I got to get all the things together, all the ones and O's together and working on it. When I get back from DC on March 24th, Sunday, the day of the penumbral lunar eclipse preceding the big solar eclipse coming to the States, I'll be doing an eclipse workshop with NCGR Sacramento in Sacramento, California. I think 3:30 p.m., 3-hour eclipse workshop, potluck, dinner, watching the moon rise as the sun sets, and then I'll be doing night sky teachings if the sky is open that March 24th. April 20th, the day of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, I was just recently invited to be on a panel, an astrology panel at the New Life Expo in San Rafael in Marin, right? Very close to me here in the Bay Area of California. And I'll certainly be doing night sky stuff, even if it's not part of the schedule, as I do, right? And then the next in-person event currently on the books after that one is the end of May, the Great Northwest Astrological Conference, NORWAC. I'll be doing a pre-conference workshop in the morning of the day. It begins Friday morning on harmonic astrology, adding harmonic to your astrological toolbox, and then doing 2 lectures during the thing, Sacred Astronomy for Astrologers 101, and also the astrological codes confirmed through our modern astronomical discoveries, which is going to be fun. It's going to be a tour of this solar system like you've never seen before. And then I come home and we have a baby. We're going to shut it down for a little while in June. All right. But I know in October there's going to be a thing in Utah, more of that coming soon. And so again, thanks to Carolyn Link for helping me get an events page at least started at my website. And now it's on me to kind of propagate the thing. In the middle of all these in-person gatherings, there will be plenty of online teachings through the School of Earth Astrology. I know I'm going to do a Connecting to Natural Time talk probably on February 24th. When I get back from DC with camera cards full of new pictures, I'll do a DC presentation online and a workshop also about how you can align your temple to the stars. That's called local space astrology. There'll be some other online deep dives. There'll be an eclipse masterclass, probably weekend also. Likely the very end of March before the big solar eclipse comes around. All right, cool. Hey, thanks for spending some time with me, y'all. It's great to see you. Let's read this from Heather real quick. The eclipse is happening on my 19-degree ascendant. How to make a trip down to Texas during that one. We'll certainly check out your happenings. I was going to be in Texas with Austin with the Shift Network. Is that what they call themselves? Great astrologers, Russell Olhausen, Shannon Gill, are putting on an eclipse thing. And that should be enough to get you going, Heather. Go to that. They're going to have awesome teachers, an awesome gathering. Highly recommended outside of Austin, right in the path of totality. That would be a really great community for you to be with. I'm kind of sad that I'm missing out on that one. Just given the stage of my baby mama's pregnancy and some of the charts and the way it looks like with her and me, I was like, I think let's watch a partial eclipse from home. So I think I'm going to do eclipse workshops the 2 days before, Saturday and Sunday, and then maybe do for the people who have been on there a bit of like a ceremonial gathering during the thing. All right. So if you want to find out more about that stuff, first of all, you're tuned in here and I'll be babbling about it here as I do. But also GeminiBrett.com. Please sign up on the mailing list. And the events page is something you can check out. Right now there's 2 things there, but soon, actually there's 3 things there. You go find out what the third one is, the mystery third. But soon there will be like literally, I have a list of 20 things to get up there. I just got to figure out how to do it. All right. Thanks for spending some time. Big ups, y'all. Get ready for big changes. Don't we need them?